Welcome to the third installment of my Cuppa and a Chat series. Today we're going to taste test some decaf teas. I'm going to share a little bit about what I'm currently reading, and I might share with you a little bit of the crafts I've been working on. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome to my reading life and welcome to another Cuppa and a Chat video where we sit, have a little chit chat, have a little cuppa, and I share with you just a little bit about what's going on in my reading life. And today, because I had so many requests to do this video, I am going to taste test some decaf teas for you. I'm going to set this cup down for just a moment so I can go over the teas we are going to taste test today, and then we'll get going before my cups cool down too much. I have 4 teas that I'm going to taste test for you today. I am going to start off with the tea that I have been drinking regularly, and that is the PG Tips Decaf. And I'm going to say right off the bat that this isn't my favorite decaf that I've ever had. So I don't think this one's going to win the taste test, but I want to use it as a basis on which to compare the other teas that I'm going to test today. The rest of these were all recommended by you lovely viewers, so thank you so much to everybody who recommended teas to me. I still have some other decafs to try, so there will probably be a part 2 to this at some point, but it's a little bit pricey to buy a lot of decaf teas all at once, so I decided to start with these 3 outside of the one I already owned, the PG Tips. And first up is going to be the Republic of Tea Decaf British Breakfast Blend. And I do want to say before we get going that I have actually tasted all of the teas ahead of time, because sometimes on first taste I find that I don't always get a true sense of what the tea is like. So I've had each of these at least twice already, and so I've already formulated some thoughts about what I think about them, but I just thought it would be helpful to not have this just be, my very first time trying each of these, especially since PG Tips I've been drinking regularly. And then next is going to be the Yorkshire Tea Decaf. And this is the British blend, as you can tell by the price on the box, but very excited for this one. And then lastly, I am going to try the Clipper Organic Decaf Black Tea. This is such a big box of tea. There are so many tea bags in here. I guess this is 80. And then I have 40 in this one and 50 in this one. So I am set for decaf teas for a while after this. Let us get into the taste tests before all my cups of tea cool down too much to drink. I have set the box so we can all see which tea I am drinking. So first up is going to be PG Tips. And just to let you all know, I did brew these and steep them for the same amount of time. So all of these have been steeped for 4 minutes. There is a teeny bit of sugar in each cup and then milk as well. And it's funny because each of them has a slightly different color. It's kind of hard for me to show you on camera the color of each, but they are slightly different. So this is PG Tips. It's fine. I like it. Obviously, I have been drinking it for quite some time, and I do think it leaves a little bit of an aftertaste that I'm not 100% a fan of. I think that's why I don't like this one as much. Also, I don't think it has quite as strong a tea flavor as some of the others. So those are my initial thoughts on PG Tips. Let's go on to tea number 2. Next up is the Republic of Tea Decaf British Breakfast, and it's funny because when milk is added to this one, it's actually the lightest in color of all the teas, but let's see how it tastes. So I definitely think this one feels like it's got a fuller tea taste to it than the PG Tips. It's a little bit maltier. The PG Tips doesn't have any kind of maltiness to it at all, I don't think. And this one has a little bit. I really like this. It doesn't leave any kind of aftertaste, and that's one of the things about decaf teas that I think is sometimes problematic for me, is that it leaves like a weird I don't know if it's like the tannins or something in the tea, but it leaves like a weird aftertaste, or maybe it's just the processing of the decaf. So I do like this one, even though it is the lightest of all the teas when it is steeped. And next up is going to be the Cuppa Organic Decaf Tea, and let's give this one a try. As I mentioned earlier, I've already tried all of the teas, and I have to say, when I tasted the Cuppa the first time I brewed it, I didn't love it. But it may have been that I didn't steep it long enough, or I steeped it too long, one or the other, I'm not sure. But actually that's pretty nice. I would say this one is between the PG Tips and the Republic of Tea in terms of the strength and fullness of the tea flavor. It also doesn't have much like kind of rich maltiness to it, which I do sort of like that like creamy flavor in my tea. I still think Republic of Tea is so far the one I like the best, but this one I think is a close second. Okay, let's head on to tea number 4. And my final tea is going to be the Yorkshire Decaf. Let's give it a go. Yes, it has that same flavor profile that the Yorkshire Gold tea has, which I really, really like. It's why it's my go-to regular caffeinated tea that I drink. And I do like this one. Though I don't know, between this and the Republic of Tea, let me taste those two side by side. So let me grab the Republic of Tea and do those two, one right after the other. Okay, this one's the Republic of Tea. Of course, they're all cooling down right now, which isn't the best, but this one's the Yorkshire. Those are so close, but they're very different. Again, I'm gonna say the Yorkshire has more of that creamier, maltier flavor, but I really, really like this Republic of Tea. I just find myself very drawn to it. Something about it is just lovely. And I really like that there's no aftertaste at all. I don't know which one will be the winner. Now, to be perfectly honest, I will drink all of these teas because they're all good. I just think I prefer both the Yorkshire Decaf and the Republic of Tea, with Republic of Tea maybe edging out the Yorkshire Decaf just a smidge. And thank you so much. I forget who it was who recommended the Republic of Tea Decaf British Breakfast, but you were right on the money there. So I definitely recommend that one. I will have links to all of the teas that I taste tested here down in the description box below. So if you want to go check them out and order some for yourself, you can definitely do that. But now I have 4 cups of tea to drink. I'm not going to drink all 4 of these, though I might finish this Yorkshire one. That's just good. But let us get into some chatting about books, shall we? As you probably know by now, I am participating in both Middle Grade March and March Mystery Madness, and I have definitely been leaning into both mysteries and middle grades. I think I've read 3 of each so far this month. That's pretty good. And I brought my current reads here to share with you. I'm certainly reading outside of that as well, but the majority of the books that I'm reading this month are going to be either mysteries or middle grade. I'm not going to talk about what I've read already this month. I will chat about all of those in my wrap-up video. And if you do want to see what I had planned to read this month, you can check out my March TBR video. I will have that linked in the cards and in the description box below, so be sure to check that one out. I've also put up some videos with middle grade recommendations as well as some mystery recommendations, so also you can check those out. I will link them below as well. But let us get into the books that I'm currently reading. I have this stack right here. These are really in no particular order. So first up, I am currently doing a bit of a slow reread of Heidi by Johanna Spyri. I read this last middle grade March, absolutely adored it. I listened to the audiobook last year and then immediately went out and got myself this beautiful Puffin and Bloom edition of Heidi. And I am so enjoying working my way through this. I'm actually buddy reading it with a friend of mine on Bookstagram, and it is just, it's so lovely. I've had to have Heidi take a little bit of a back seat because I need to read the book for the Cozy Reader Book Club by this Saturday. But as soon as I finish with that, then I am going to dive back into Heidi full force. But this is so lovely. If you've never read Heidi, I highly recommend it. It's such a lovely story. And then next up is a book that I'm actually listening to on audio. And this is one of my 25 and 2025 books that I picked out to read this year. And this one has been such a surprise to me. That is The Phoenix and the Carpet by E. Nesbit. And the reason this is a surprise is because I read Five Children and It a few years ago and could barely get through it. It didn't hold my interest. It felt very much like each of the chapters was just like a little story, and it started to get very repetitive after a while. This on audio, for some reason, it feels much more cohesive of a story, that the chapters feel interconnected, even though there are sort of episodes that are happening in each chapter, but with the children and both the Phoenix and the carpet. It's a magic carpet. And I, for some reason, am just gelling with this one much more than I did with Five Children and It. So that has been lovely. I'm actually, I'm about 80% through with this. So I'll probably finish this in the next day or so, but really enjoying this one. So glad, because I was really afraid this was going to be a DNF. So this has been a delightful surprise. And then next up is a nonfiction book that I really, really want to finish in March, and that is Bookworms. This was also off of my 25 and 2025. I've had this book for so long. I mean, decades, possibly since the 1900s, you guys. And by 1900s, I mean like, 1998. 7, 8, somewhere. That's when this book came out in 1997, I believe. And I have a feeling I got it right around that time. So that's how long I've had this book, and I have not read it. And I am making a little bit of progress. I'm trying to read a couple of the little excerpts in it each evening before I go to bed. So this is Great Writers and Readers Celebrate Reading. So basically it is just excerpts from books, journals, other publications of writers about their reading life. And it's broken up into different categories. So we started off with like the young reader, and now I am in this section called Sorts of Readers. And then there's Reading Aloud, Reading Ahead, Queen Lear, and The Privileged Pleasure. So really, really enjoying this. As with any book that's a compilation of writings, I think you are drawn to some more than others, and that's certainly the case, but I'm definitely enjoying this one so far. Then next is the mystery that I'm currently reading, and that is an Agatha Christie. This is a Miss Marple. They do it with mirrors, and I am about a third of the way through so far, and I am really enjoying this one. Mainly because Miss Marple is in this from page 1. And if you've watched any of my videos where I talk about Miss Marple, I am always complaining that I just want more of her in her novels. And sometimes she doesn't show up until the very end, or she's just sporadically in the story. So really loving that she is playing a role throughout this entire book. And I'm intrigued to see where this one's gonna take us. So she is visiting a friend whose family owns like a rehab center for young men, and the murder hasn't happened yet, but I think it is imminent. And so we will see. But she's there because the friend's sister thinks there is something not quite right, and she's worried about her sister. So that's why Miss Marple is there. But so far so good, and I am enjoying all the time I'm getting to spend with Miss Marple in this one. And then lastly, I am finishing up the book for the Cozy Reader Book Club. And our pick for March is Swallows and Amazons by Arthur Ransom. And I am almost done with this. I think I have about 40 pages left or so. And this is such a fun adventure story, you guys. I am so, so glad that I read this. And it has just been lovely. It is really fun to read a middle grade book where kids are just being kids. And there's nothing super I mean, there are some dramatic things that happen in it, but it's really just kids playing pretend and camping and going on adventures and sailing. I really need to bone up on my sailing knowledge because I know very little about sailing, and there is a lot of sailing terminology in this book that I don't understand. So some of that's gone over my head and I have had to look up some terms and different things, but yes, this has just been such a delight, and I think I will continue on with this series and try to read. I believe there are 11 or 12 books in the Swallows and Amazons series, and yeah, I'm definitely interested in reading more. And as always, if you're interested in joining the Cozy Reader Book Club, please reach out to me. We would love to have you join our little cozy book reading community. And those are all the books I'm currently reading. I think that's plenty, don't you? One of the things I have had some requests for in the past is for me to chat about the cross stitching that I do, because I have mentioned that I do like to cross stitch. And I have actually been working on my current cross stitch project, which I hadn't worked on much over the holidays or anything like that. I had been working on it in the fall because it is an autumn cross stitch sampler kind of a thing. I don't know what you call it. But I have picked it up and we have been watching a TV show as a family. We've been watching a series of unfortunate events, the Neil Patrick Harris Netflix series with my son. And so while we do that each evening, I have been working on my cross stitch. So I thought I would pull out my little project bag. I got these bags and they are perfect for keeping a cross stitch project in. And I just put the instructions, my fabric, all of my threads that I need, and a little pair of embroidery scissors. I really love these Prairie Schooler designs of cross stitch. So I am doing, if you can see it, I'm doing this one in the corner, which says autumn wind is rising and the air is wild with leaves. And I've been working on this for a few years now and I'm not anywhere near being done. Cross stitch takes a long time. I still have my hoop on here, so that's a little bit in the way, but you can kind of get a sense of, I've done quite a bit actually. So this is the bottom of the cross stitch, which you can see. I've done the little squirrels down here and I've done quite a few of the leaves, and then I need to go back up and do this top section up here and obviously the border and all the finishing bits. But yes, this is my current project that I'm working on and it's lovely. The one thing that's nice about cross stitching is you, other than watching TV or, you know, a movie or something like that, you can't really do anything else. So it's a great way for me to get off of my phone and keep my hands busy and keep my brain engaged. And yes, I really love that. So as I said, I don't know where I got these. I think I got them at Michael's actually, these little rings that you can use to put your thread on. So these are all the threads that I need for just this current project. I have big boxes of embroidery thread. And then I have a tiny little pair of embroidery scissors that I've had for ever and ever and ever. I think my mom gave these to me when I first started cross stitching. But yeah, so that is my current cross stitch project. And I know there were some of you that were interested in that, so there you have it. But if you're not interested in cross stitch, that's all we'll chat about for today. Oh, and then one other of my favorite little items that helps with cross stitching, which I keep in my, this is my like little needlepoint bag that I have that I use to keep all my projects in. But this little neck light is the best thing ever. It's got 3 brightnesses and it is perfect for if I'm working somewhere where the light isn't great, and as my eyes age, it is definitely harder and harder to see. Some of the symbols they use for cross stitching on the pattern are not always the easiest to decipher, and so it's helpful to have just a little bit of extra light I just turn this back on again. There we go. So I will link this little light in the description box below if you're interested in getting one of these for yourself. It's great for reading. It's great for craft projects, anything that you need to do close up. This light is very, very handy. And that is going to do it for this Cuppa and a Chat installment. I hope you enjoyed coming along on my little decaf tea test and coming to see what I'm currently reading and my current little cross stitch project. Yeah, I love these slightly informal videos where I can just come in and kind of chat about what's happening. It is a gray, rainy day here, so it is perfect to at least finish up one of these cups of tea that I made. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's chat down in the comments. Do you have any decaf tea recommendations? I can add them to my ongoing list, and I will definitely be taste testing some more in the future, as I said. But let's chat about books, tea, cross stitch, whatever you'd like to down in the comments. I really do like chatting with you there. And if you don't have anything that you'd like to say but would like to let me know that you were here, why don't you leave either a little teapot or teacup or a little needle and thread. I think there's an emoji of that, just to let me know that you were here. Comments really do help my channel, and I really do love seeing that you were here and you made it this far in the video. And if you did enjoy this video, if you could give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. I would love to have you join my bookish community. And I want to give an extra special shout out to those of you who pushed the super thanks button on my last video. Thank you so much for that extra bit of support. I really appreciate it, as I appreciate all of you coming and spending time out of your day here with me on my channel. And as always, I'll be back with another video very soon. Bye.